glass horse.
But yeah, you were talking.
So, the idea that if you have your self-image and like consumed by a certain thing, having something contrary to that, you automatically, your brain is defensive against it and not receptive to it. And that's a defense mechanism. That's where the basis of cognitive dissonance happens, where people who are so engrossed by a certain concept or idea, when faced with something that is alternative to it, they reject that out of just sheer self-defense for like their mental being, because they're so wrapped up in it. That's why you got people who adamantly believe that the earth is flat, even though they did their own scientific measurements. It's like, oh, it's round. Okay, I must have done something wrong, right? They ignore that, even though the evidence is right there, because they're so wrapped up in that. So it's the idea of I'm being correct and incorrect at the same time is okay, even if like my self-perception is so engrossed by this one concept, right? I can step out of the box into another context, and I can be okay being perfectly wrong within that. But a lot of people are incapable of doing that, and that's because it takes a certain level of training, a mental training, to be able to get to that point. And I was fortunate that I either just stumbled across it, or, I mean, I've had 2 brain surgeries, a brain tumor, enough radiation, 6 weeks of radiation, and enough medical drugs to make Keith Richards go, wow. So, there's a good chance that my brain doesn't work the same way that other people's does. So I totally understand that. But I do try to bring that to the table and try to get people to understand and acknowledge that. I think I answered your question.
Yeah. You definitely did. Now, is there anything particular about the martial arts, I guess, training around growth mindset versus fixed mindset that is particular to martial arts? Or do you feel as though that information is, I guess, the same in martial arts?
Well, the methods of teaching are same. The information is always going to be different, because the context is always going to be different. Body types are always going to be different. I mean, me as the instructor, I need to know 10 ways of doing stuff, even if 8 ways are not things I would do, because 2 of those ways might be your go-to, right? So I need to know that stuff to be able to accurately teach other people. So the idea of being able to fail, and this is the reason why a lot of people don't even come into my school, because they see the mixed martial art, and they're like, oh, I can't do the stuff that I see in TV and movies and stuff, is because they don't want to fail. And failure is the greatest teacher. Learning how something doesn't work is an easy way to learn how to make it work. In fact, I don't set people up for failure, but I let them fail because I want them to understand, oh, if I just move my foot a certain way, then this will be better, right? It kind of leads into that teaching aspect of like, do this, you'll be more powerful, you'd be more faster. That positive reinforcement and positive incentive to do something better, instead of like hammering the negative into them. But that idea of like, I'm okay failing at this thing. And, if you ever watch the show Mythbusters, I freaking love that show, because one of the things they used to always say is that failure is always an option, is always a thing. And knowing how something doesn't work is the key to being able to defend against. So I teach a lot of my people how to do the attack first, because once they know that, once they understand how to do an attack, then they know how easily to make that attack not happen if it's done to them. They know how to defend against it. And so it's just going about it in a slightly different way. But failure is a big part of it. Even with exercise, when I do bodyweight stuff, I go until failure. You don't do that on weights, because that's weights, that's working outside of your body. But But with bodyweight stuff, you can always go to failure. I just set a timer. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do push-ups until my arms give out. I can do that every single day. I'm not necessarily counting how many reps I do. I just want to be able to do it for a certain amount of time. So mentally, I'm always accomplishing my goal of going for a set amount of time. But it's going to failure and it's being okay with the fact that, oh, I only got maybe 20 today, or I got 120, that kind of deal.
Well, thank you so much, Sifu Mike.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. This was a wonderful interview. I hope the people watching have something to take away from this. Thank you for your time, and
yes,
thank you for allowing me to come into your school. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Truth About Martial Arts, a journey of skill, discipline, and self-discovery.